you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Livin the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you with another growth MINIsode. This will be a bite-sized episode with the goal of setting a growth-minded intention and focus for the upcoming week. Each MINIsode is going to offer a quote that encapsulates the theme of the week. And after the quote, we're going to dive into a weekly focus, something small that we can concentrate on for the following 7 days. As well as we're going to touch on a physical activity and a nutritional tip that will better assist us in working towards a more healthy and optimal way of living our own dream life. And each MINIsode is going to end with the recommendation for the week. The recommendation could be anything from a podcast, a book, an article, a paper, anything that I think is going to help better educate ourselves toward the overall focus of the week. And if this is your first time listening to a MINIsode, the goal is to listen on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday to be ready to start the challenges of the week on Monday. So listen to just one MINIsode every week, and as that week finishes, move on to the next week's MINIsode. I mean, you can start all the way over at MINIsode number 1, or you can join up with the team right now. These MINIsodes will only be as beneficial to you as you're willing to make them. So if you're playing along with the weekly focuses or the physical activity and nutrition tips, it'll help you be much more successful to do this with someone in your life. So grab an accountability buddy and share on your social media platforms the challenges of the week. You never know who is going to be quietly watching and rooting for you, and you never know whose life you will truly inspire just by sharing your journey, both the challenges and the successes. You're going to be far more likely with a support system and a social network to be successful. Get someone that's chasing similar fitness goals as you and do this with them. And as you work on making your life healthier and you motivate your network through your positive actions and your lifestyle choices, the ripple effect, it's unimaginable with who will be touched by you motivating and posting and including others in your journey. So let's dive into this week's Growth MINIsode. This week's quote comes from Canadian self-help author and philosopher Bob Proctor. Mr. Bob Proctor has one of my all-time favorite quotes that mirrors one of my key mission statements in life. His quote says, "Leave everyone with the impression of increase." Leave everyone with the impression of increase. One of my personal goals in life is to leave every person that I come into contact with better than before. This is whether it's a long-lasting relationship or a simple crossing of paths with a stranger that I may never see again. I want every person who connects with me on any level to leave that encounter feeling better, happier, smarter, more inspired, more confident, more motivated. Whatever the emotion or feeling may be, my goal is to have that emotion be of increase. And of course, it's going to be impossible to have this happen 100% of the time. I have bad days, people have bad days, there's bad situations, but that's what I strive for. Leave everyone with the impression of increase. If we talk about longevity and the longevity of a human being, we have a few regions of the world where people live abnormally extended lives. These are called the blue zones. Blue zones are areas where there are a concentrated amount of centenarians, meaning individuals who live over 100 years old. We can look for similarities in these blue zones to see what might be an underlying environmental or behavioral lifestyle variable that may contribute to the long-lasting health spans. What is it that they have in common? There are aspects of movements that all of these zones have in common. Most of these places, instead of driving for transportation, the individuals walk like everywhere that they go. There are aspects of certain diets that these zones have in common. Some experts say that the zones eat more plant-based. Some could argue that they eat more whole foods. Some zones have rituals and preparation of the consumption of the food that they're going to have. But almost all of these zones, they don't overconsume. They have limited calorie intake, meaning they eat for their movement and they are not eating in excess of their calories. And the majority of these zones have some form of fasting in their culture or their religion. There are aspects of purpose. And here in the US, we retire, right? And it seems that as soon as we retire from the things that we do that bring us purpose, it seems that those individuals that retire start to accelerate their aging process. It's almost automatic. These blue zones tend to have people who have large, obvious purpose, a why behind their life. And that lasts long into their life, well into their elderly years. But all of those things, they pale in comparison to the largest common factor that all of these blue zones have in common. The biggest thing that longevity professionals, health professionals, and scientists all have to agree upon is relationships, social interactions, social support, social cohesion, aka community. One thing that really worries me about what's going on with the world right now in the years 2020 and 2021, we have people avoiding other people. We have people arguing with other people about crazy, crazy things. We have kids doing entire online courses over Zoom, over screens. Loneliness, depression, suicide, social isolation is at an all-time high. What sort of ramification will this have long term? Will we be seeing effects for this for years, decades to come? We won't know until we see it all played out. But that doesn't mean that we can't start making changes and start investing in relationships now. Leave everyone with the impression of increase. So that's why I truly love this week's Weekly Focus. We're going to focus on something that I consider, well, I would say a little bit of a pet peeve of mine. Mostly because I used to be this person. How many of you right now have said these words? I am so bad at remembering names. I'm terrible at remembering names. I can see you nodding your head right now. That's you. Why are you so bad at remembering names? Our brains, they are supercomputers. They are the most complex, powerful things that we know in this universe. Yet, when we meet Charlie and look at him in his eyes, and then when he tells you his name, why is it that 4 seconds later, you feel like your brain turns into mashed potatoes when you're trying to remember the simple 2-syllable word that he just told you? That literally defines the most important things about him. I'm going to give you a little tough love right now. You're not terrible at remembering names. You're not. Your memory is not that of a small goldfish, of Dory from Finding Nemo. You are letting yourself off the hook, and you are copping out and letting yourself off the hook when you say that you're terrible with names. That's right, I said it. But I'm not saying it because of the person that you are. No, on the contrary, I'm actually going to put some of the blame on that incredible organ that I just praised, your brain. I used to be that person that said, I am so bad at names, until I actually started to put importance on focus on learning every single person's name that I meet. Now some people call me, quote unquote, Damien is a savant with names. And I just smile and I say nothing and I say, yeah, that's right. I'm good at remembering names. I have coached thousands of people across multiple states and all over the San Diego region. And I can see someone randomly at the store or out and about in the most weird places that I haven't seen them before. Depending on how we met, I can access the memory center of my brain and recall their name. Sometimes it's just the first letter. And as I'm talking to them, I'm like, it sounds like this. But most of the time, I'm able to pull it out of my memory before I'm done talking to them. But I'm not special. I'm probably less than special. I've taken many soccer headers to the head and had many concussions from sports. I've spent many nights drinking to excess where I don't remember what I did, and probably more than I'm willing to admit. I'm nowhere near the word special. Look, your brain is constantly bombarded with sensory information from 360 degrees in every single direction. You have sounds, smells, sights, temperatures, even things that we haven't figured out that are going through us, like good or bad vibes when you meet someone. that operate at that quantum level with all of the constant sensory overload. It's absolutely incredible what our brain can process as important and then discard what is not important. So this week's weekly focus is to take control of that process. When you meet someone, stop thinking about their body language, their accent of their voice, their clothes, their attitude, their posture. Stop thinking about if your hair looks good or what to do with your hands. Stop thinking about the words you're going to use when you meet them or how you're going to shake their hand or fist bump or whatever. Look them in the eyes, hear them say their name, use their name. I personally try to use the person's name 3 times after they've told it to me. I say it once right after they've said it to make sure that I got it right. Charlie, is that right? Charlie? Awesome. Also, I say it in my mind's eye. I actually spell it out and I see the letters in my mind's eye. I see the letters CHARLIE. And I say it back to them. I also throw it on the end of a sentence that makes sense. Something like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how hot it's been lately. You're totally right, Charlie. And then definitely I say it at the end of our encounter. So nice to meet you, Charlie. Have a great day. Oftentimes when you use their name multiple times, it prompts them to also ask you your name back because they were inevitably thinking about what your body language was doing when they first met you and when you first said it, or what their face was looking like, or what they should do with their hands. And after I tell them again, I am now more memorable. They feel more connected to me than they would on an average random meeting of 2 people and a relationship, even if it's small. It starts from there and then it grows. If we put importance on one of the most important things about a person, their name, they feel the sincerity coming from us. We build rapport and we build trust. And we leave them with the impression of increase. You're not terrible at remembering names. You just have other things going on in your brain at the time of the introduction. But not this week. Every time you meet someone, you look them in the eye, you say their name at least 3 times before you leave them. You connect the literal picture of their face to their name, and you take control of the power of your brain that you really have. One of the most important things that to a person is their identity. And if we had to use one word that reflected their identity, it's their name. You are not terrible at remembering names. You just have to put the right focus and the right importance on remembering names that it deserves. This week's physical activity tip is all about harboring the right relationships and how they can help you achieve your fitness goals. You are more likely to be active if you have healthy relationships that are involved around physical activity, movement, and exercise. Surround yourself with people who do things that you're trying to get involved in. Surround yourself with people who are excited about being healthy. We've talked a lot about the benefits of having a workout buddy, right? I like to call them swolemates. There are so many reasons why a swolmate is a great idea. From the motivation that you're going to get, the accountability, the safety, the ability to keep an eye out for each other, and just so many more. We've gone over it. But just as importantly, bigger than just having one swolmate, what does the rest of your network look like? Right now, think about the top 5 or the top 10 people that you spend time with. What do their lifestyles look like? Are they type A workaholics? Are they fun partiers, always up for a good time? Are they growth-minded and always looking for the next big thing? Or are they into fitness and they're always on the move? I would bet that whatever your close to mid-range network looks like, that lifestyle and that mindset also runs through you. Here's the issue. If you have those partier friends who are always up for a good time, sure, you're never bored on the weekends. You're always bound to have a great weekend. But I bet a lot of the time, the things that you guys do are based around food, alcohol, and probably minimal movement. This is where you can use the power of networks and relationships to help get you to where you want to be. When you hang out with friends who are into fitness, you're more likely to get involved in active events like hikes and 5Ks and boot camps and all sorts of physical active opportunities. If you and your current friends are always deciding to go to brunch with bottomless mimosas or wine tasting or Sunday fun day, then it's going to be very hard for you to get into a consistent flow with your fitness. And that's not to say that any of those things that I just said are bad. In fact, I participate in all of those things. That's why I put them in here. I enjoy them, and I really value that time with my friends. But I also understand that those decisions are taking me in the complete opposite direction of my personal fitness goals. I weigh the pros and the cons every single time I have a scenario like this, and I decide on a case-by-case basis if I really want to do Sunday Fun Day or if I feel like something else is better for me. The problem is that takes a ton of willpower. It adds complexity to an already challenging goal. So why not jury rig? Why not MacGyver and work things the other way, more in your favor? This is where I absolutely love group fitness. I know a lot of personal trainers bag on group fitness, but sign up for group fitness classes. There's an app called ClassPass where you can find group fitness studios around your region. When you show up to those classes, don't just go in and go to the back very quietly, not making eye contact with anyone. Do your thing awkwardly and just leave. No way. Talk to the instructor. Express that it's your first time and introduce yourself. Let them know your fitness goals and let them know your feelings about what will be taking place over the next hour. Make small talk with the people that are around you. Introduce yourself. Tell them that you're new. Learn more about the people who take that session. I like to find the ones that look like they're the OGs, meaning the people who have probably been doing this concept for years. Who cares if you don't become instant friends with those people? That's not how relationships work. You're building a foundation. You're planting seeds to which something bigger might grow from. You could sign up for clubs, sign up for community service. There are get-together apps that work really well, especially if you're in a place like San Diego where we have a bunch of transplants from all over the world that are just genuinely looking to meet new people in the areas of growth that they're looking for. This issue definitely does not have to have a quick fix. But start by surrounding yourself with people who are living the life that matches the life that you want to live and your fitness goals. Let your partier friends know that you still love them. You still want to be in their lives, but maybe space out the events a little bit further apart when you're participating in things that take you further from your fitness goals. It's all about balance, right? But sometimes you have to balance the equation in the right direction. It doesn't mean that you love those partier friends any less. It just means that at this point in time, you're switching your focus. You're concentrating on something else. You're dedicating your finite amount of time towards a different goal, a specific goal. Who knows? You might even change the partier friends' lives by having them see your transformation in how you look and feel and how you carry yourself and your energy. And they may come and join you on your fitness journey. And now you have become the fitness friend. Now you have changed lives. And it's a downhill rolling of momentum that you'll find. Moving on to this week's nutrition tip. It's all about our relationship with food. I'm going to offer you some signs that may show what type of relationship that you have with food currently. Do you have a good relationship or a toxic one? Here are 6 signs of a bad relationship with food. Number 1, you restrict foods that are quote unquote bad. Foods are neither good or bad. There are definitely foods that impact your health negatively, and there are definitely foods that are absolutely beneficial to helping you live a long, healthy, nourished life. But everything has its place. There are so many aspects of this life and everything. Yes, even soda has its purpose. If you're not eating food because they're evil, then we should definitely take a little deeper look into your relationship with food. Number 1, you restrict foods that are quote unquote bad. Number 2, you feel stressed about eating in social situations. You feel stressed about eating in social situations. You have so many aspects of health, and social health is a huge one. As soon as you start stressing about food intake when you're supposed to be enjoying your social health, we may want to explore this a little further. You feel stressed about eating in social situations, number 2. Number 3, you feel anxiety about eating off your diet plan. Tracking your food and having an awareness is so huge. I preach about it all the time. When it comes to understanding exactly what you are consuming and what you're doing with your body, that's important. But the moment we become so obsessed with the exact calorie amount and the exact measurement of our food that when you go off by even just a little bit, you freak out, you have anxiety, this may be an issue that we want to address. Number 3, you feel anxiety about eating off your diet plan. Number 4, you use exercise as a punishment for your food choices. And this is a big one. I know that we've all done this, including myself. I say all the time that life is about balance. So if you're going to increase your energy consumption, there should be a balance the other direction as well. However, this does not mean that if you had a crazy weekend of excess consumption, that you have to beat yourself up with a daily double until you throw up. That's not balance. That is a sign of a bad relationship with food. Number 5, you starve yourself in order to binge later. There's a difference between planning for an event by adjusting your calories appropriately, and then the other side of the coin where you don't eat all day, maybe for a whole day, because you want to be able to stuff your face with bar food and alcohol at a party. This isn't a good strategy at all, and it usually backfires for a multitude of physiological and psychological reasons, creating issues that are usually opposite of this person's fitness goal. So number 5, you starve yourself in order to binge later. And the last one, number 6, you beat yourself up if you quote unquote mess up. Life is not perfect, nor should you strive to be. The human experience is so much more than that. If you quote fall off the wagon, unquote, that's a small period in this overall grand scheme of your entire life. You weren't wrong. You were navigating other challenges that this life has to offer. Now get yourself up and start a healthy relationship with yourself, with your body, with your food and your lifestyle. So if that's what an unhealthy relationship with food looks like, let's offer you 6 signs of a good relationship that we can strive to have with our food. Number 1, you enjoy all foods in moderation. You enjoy all foods in moderation. Number 2, you can enjoy an untracked meal without feeling anxiety. Number 3, you listen to your natural hunger cues and you realize when you might not be hungry, you're just having a craving. And this takes a lot of self-awareness and a lot of practice. You listen to your natural hunger cues and realize when you might not be hungry and just having a craving. Number 4, you are not afraid to break away from your list of quote unquote good foods. So if we're going to label foods good or bad, you're not afraid to break away from that list every once in a while. Number 5, you use food as nourishment and fuel for your exercise and movement. You use food as nourishment and fuel for your exercise and movement. And number 6, you don't need to constantly check your calorie tracker. Yes, tracking every once in a while, having awareness is important, but you don't have to constantly check it. This is a real controversial topic. This is a topic that many struggle with, including myself. Food is sometimes on the same level as politics and religion when it comes to how passionate people feel about it. Food can be so polarizing, so frustrating and overwhelming. I get it. It's definitely my most challenging aspect of my own health and wellness. And when I help lead others through this journey, it's hard. It's because we don't know all the information yet. And the information that we do know, we're finding out, might not exactly be what we think. There's no one right answer for every single person, at least not right now. So if you're frustrated, if you're in a bad relationship with food, it's okay. It's hard. It's challenging. It's super individualized. But what do we say about the harder the challenge is here on this podcast? Well, the more challenging the climb, the greater the view at the top. Be nice to yourself. Give it time. Let yourself fail, learn, and grow. And lastly, this week's recommendation is to listen to a podcast episode of The Doctor's Pharmacy. That's spelled Farmacy, like a farm. And that podcast is with Dr. Mark Hyman. This episode is called Why Modern Food is Nutrient Depleted and How to Fix It with Dan Kettridge. This was released on June 2nd of 2021 this year. One of the quotes I absolutely love in this episode is, "We have fixed the problem of calorie quantity. No one is going to starve eating at our current system, but we are nowhere near where we need to be to fix the problem of calorie quality." I'll include the link of this episode in the description of the MINIsode. Highly recommend giving it a listen. And that's it, my friends, for this week's Growth MINIsode. Each week, we will focus on something new and dial in a different aspect of physical activity and nutrition. Share with your friends and family and hold each other accountable. Post on your social media stories with any strategies that you use to help remember someone's name this week. And post a video of you filling your network with like-minded fit fam. And when you change your mindset with relationship with food, I would love to hear it. Make sure you tag me and share your journey. Let me know if you have any suggestions or tips that will help your Livin the Dream team that I can discuss on future episodes. I will be right here with you, working on making us stronger, happier, and healthier humans. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.